We're sorry about that. We promoted the show around him. He did have a contract, but he's filming his sixth Living Dead movie up in Canada. It's a good movie, something to look forward to, but it is very disappointing that he is not here. He loves his fans. It was out of his control, and hopefully, if we do this again next year, and we're certainly planning on it, maybe we can get him back. But we do have much of the cast of Night of the Living Dead, and let's bring them on in now. Here is the cast of Night of the Living Dead. Let's give them a big statement. We got 2 microphones to share with 7 people.
That's all right.
So, okay, good.
Pretty bright. I just say, anyway.
What I'd like you to do, I have to get a seat, is I'd like you to introduce yourselves and tell everyone the character you played or the role you played with Night of the Living Dead, perhaps starting with Judith.
Oh, right.
And work your way down that table.
Hello, everybody. I am Judith O'Day. I played Barbara in Night of the Living Dead. And my name's Kyra Schoen, and I played little Karen Hooper in the basement.
Zombie number 1 here is Bill Heinzman. He was 37. 38. Well, he likes to tell the truth whenever he can. John Russo, I wrote the screenplay with George Romero, and I played the zombie that got the tire iron in the head. The tire iron's still in there. We had to saw it off front and back. It hurts sometimes. And I did the Molotov cocktail stunt. I got set on fire, and I had the famous line.
Striner. I played Barbara's lovable brother, Johnny. Someone booed. And I also produced the film, along with Carl Hardman.
My name's George Cosena. I'm the production manager, and I played the sheriff. And ever since Russo got that tire iron in his head, he's no longer iron deficient.
My name is Charles Craig. I'm the TV anchorman who tells you what's happening and why, and also double as a ghoul.
By the way, just one more thing before we get started. George Romero apologizes profusely. He is working on a film in Canada. It is the only reason why he isn't here. He was very, very much looking forward to meeting the St. Louis crowd, but unfortunately his work is keeping him busy these days. But he wanted us to send you his best wishes.
Very good. Well, thank you all for being here. Let's talk about a few of the members of the cast of Night of the Living Dead that did not make it here. Marilyn Eastman, who played Helen Cooper, was originally supposed to be here, but she's been sick. Maybe she can join you guys on your tour later on, but we wish her well. Judith Ridley, who played Judy, I'm not sure why she's not here, but has she been traveling with you guys on the 40th anniversary? Or?
No, she hasn't.
She's just not interested?
She has other commitments that kept her from joining the tour.
Okay. And then, of course, Keith Wade, who played Tom, the fellow who gets killed in the truck, he passed away in 1998. Carl Hardman, who played Harry Cooper, he passed away in 2007, and Dwayne Jones, the lead of Night of the Living Dead, died young back in 1988. Let's talk about Dwayne Jones for a minute. Somebody would like to share a story about Dwayne Jones?
Well, I guess Dwayne was a very intellectual person, very thoughtful. Between takes, you could find him reading, usually some work of philosophy or whatever. He was a little nervous about working with us, didn't know if he could trust us at first. And when he did his big scene, ripping the table apart, and he had to do that entire speech, and he put his all into it. And by the time he got to the end of it, he was crying. We were down there crying. He went around, hugged us all, and we hugged him. And I think that was like a catharsis for him. He realized that every one of us was pulling for him. And he and I stayed friends over the years until he died. And he would call me up when he came to Pittsburgh, and we'd go out and party and do things like that. He taught at Columbia, and he came back in to do the film when he was recommended by Betty Ellen Hawhey, who was a good friend of ours at that time and worked on Night of the Living Dead. He read for the part, and we said, "Oh, it has to be him. He's the best actor to come in here." And it worked out very, very well, as you all know.
Ben's a unique character in that he was the first black lead of a horror film, I believe. Can you talk perhaps about the casting of Ben and why a black man was cast in that role?
Well, as John touched on, originally the character of Ben was supposed to have been played by a friend of ours in Pittsburgh, Rudy Ritchie. And Dwayne grew up in a suburb of Pittsburgh, a small town near Pittsburgh, but he had moved off to New York, and he was teaching and acting in New York. However, at Easter in 1967, he came home to Pittsburgh to visit his family for the Easter holiday. And Betty Ellen Hawhey, while Dwayne was in town, said to us, "Well, Dwayne is visiting his family. You guys are making a movie. It would be good if you met one another." Well, we did meet with him over that weekend. He auditioned, read for the part of Ben, and really, including Rudy Ritchie, who was supposed to play Ben, agreed that it should be Dwayne, and I think that was obviously the right decision.
So the part was not written for a black actor?
It was not.
But I think the racial politics of the film is somewhat undeniable, and the visuals, if perhaps not the script, the pasty white arms reaching in and grabbing the dark-skinned black actor, the lynch mob mentality of the sheriffs and the deputies at the end shooting people. I can't imagine it with a white actor in the role. I think it'd be a much different film and a much less effective film.
Well, it obviously would be a very different film, but Night of the Living Dead from the very beginning was I must say that we are all lucky, and the film was lucky, that there were so many, that the planets were truly lined up while we were making that film, because we had so many good, fortunate things happen to our small, low-budget film. And Dwayne Jones, the casting of Dwayne Jones was certainly one of those lucky happenstances.
Definitely. Judith, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. You made Night of the Living Dead in 1968. At what point in your life did you realize that you had starred in a classic movie?
Today, yes. Actually, that happened, I could honestly say decades later. I was way out west in California, separated from all of these good folk who remained in the Pittsburgh area. So we didn't have much communication. I, on occasion, as the years went by and then the decades went by, would receive a notice from someone saying, "Hey, look at this, Night of the Living Dead has been